Today we're going to keep talking about graphing exponential functions with shifts, stretches, shrinks, and reflections, and y-intercept. So we're going to go back to the standard form of an exponential function. And we're going to first start with a. So if the absolute value of a, meaning 2, 3, -5, that's still the absolute value of a, is greater than 1, the function has been stretched vertically by a factor of a. When the absolute value of a is less than 1, meaning half, -3/4, that's still less than 1, the function has been compressed or shrunk vertically by a factor of a. When a is less than 0, the function has been reflected over the x-axis. H shifts our function left or right. So notice that h is negative. So it's x minus h. We've talked about this before. So h is the opposite of what you think. So if this says x minus h, that means that it has gone right h. And if it says x plus h, that means it's gone left h. And again, that's because of that minus there. K isn't that way. K goes in the direction that you'd think because it's a plus k. So if it says plus k, it's moved up. And if it says minus k, it's moved down. So this is what we saw yesterday. The standard form of an exponential function talks about our asymptote, vertical shifts, growth, and horizontal shifts. So we're going to start with writing a function with the following characteristics from the base function f of x equals 3 to the x. So the first thing you're going to do every time is write f of x equals 3 to the x. And then we're going to deal with all of the characteristics. So first, it says that it has been reflected over the x-axis. If it's been reflected over the x-axis, that means that a is negative. So that means that right here is negative. And the second item is that it's been shifted up 2. That means that k is plus 2. So that's over here. So that would be a plus 2 there. And that's our answer. So negative 3 to the x plus 2. Next question, without even reading it, I'm going to start with f of x equals 3 to the x. So the first item is that it's been stretched by a factor of 4. So that means that a is 4. So a is right out here. So that would be 4 times 3 to the x. It's been shifted left 2. So left and right is h. So that means that it's going to say plus 2. H equals plus 2. Well, h is minus 2, but it's going to say h is minus 2. So this would be minus negative 2, which would be x plus 2. And then the last one, it's been moved up 1. So sorry, this was the h. And if it's been moved up 1, that's right here. That means that k is up 1. So this is our answer here. F of x equals 4 times 3 to the x plus 2 plus 1. And next, start out with f of x equals 3 to the x. And we're going to start with this first one. Shrunk by a factor of 1/2. So that means that a is 1/2. So here's a right up front. So that's 1/2 times 3 to the x Next, it's been reflected over the x-axis. So that means that A is negative. So that's right here, right out front. And it's been shifted right 6. And so that's H. That means that H is plus 6. So this would be plus negative 6. So this means minus 6 up here. Okay, so our answer there is f of x equals negative 1/2 times 3 to the x minus 6. So next we're going to describe the transformations on the following function from the base function 2 to the x. So this first one, I see a negative here, so that's one thing. And I also see a plus 1. So let's talk about what either one of those do. So the negative out front, that's A is negative. So that's been a reflection over the x-axis. And that plus 1 is in the H spot. Remember, it's the opposite. So it has gone left 1. Okay. The next one, from 2 to the x, I see this 3 out front. I also see a minus 10 here. So 3 out front, that's in the A position. So it has been vertically stretched by a factor of 3. And then the pink, that's in the K position, so it has gone down 10. And then this last one, from 2 to the x, I see a 1/4 out front, so that's one item. I also see a minus 5, so that is the second item. So the 1/4, that's in the A spot. So since that is so the absolute value of that is less than 1, that is vertically shrunk by 1/4. And that minus 5, that's in the exponent, so it's in the H position, and that's the opposite of what you'd think. So it actually goes right 5. Finally, we're going to talk about finding the y-intercept and points. So the y-intercept, to find the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x, okay? So we're just going to talk about finding the y-intercept for today. So we're going to plug in 0 for x, and then we're going to find out what it is. Remember that intercepts are written as points. So y-intercept is written as 0, comma something. So don't just tell me that the y-intercept is 6 or something else. It has to be 0, comma 6. So we're going to find the y-intercept for each of the following. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So I have y equals 2 times 1.32 to the 0 plus 3. So notice, so I took this x and I plugged in 0 there. And that's because in the x spot, for a y-intercept, x is 0. Now you can use a calculator for this, but anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is really 2 times this whole thing becomes 1 plus 3. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. So the y-intercept is 0, 5. You have to write it as a point. Same idea for number 2. So I plug in 0 for x, so I have 6 times 0.28 to the 0. So again, plugged in 0 for x there. Anything to the 0 power is 1, so this becomes 6 times 1. The only thing being raised to the 0 power is the 0.28. And 6 times 1 is 6. So my answer is 0, 6. Number 3, I plug in 0 for x, so I have 4 times 1.25 to the 0 minus 9. 1.25 to the 0 power is 1, so this is really 4 times 1 minus 9, which is negative 5. So my y-intercept here is 0, negative 5. Number 4, I have 3 times 0.59 to the 0 plus 2, which is 3 times 1, because 0.59 to the 0 is 1, plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, so this is 0, 5. Number 5 is 6 times 0.72 to the 0. 0.72 to the 0 is 1, so this is really 6 times 1, which is 6. So this y-intercept is 0, 6. And then the last one is 0.89 times 1.23 to the 0 minus 4. 1.23 to the 0 is 1, so I have 0.89 times 1 minus 4. 0.89 times 1 is 0.89, and then 0.89 minus 4 is negative 3.11. So this is 0, comma, negative 3.11. So you have delta math homework tonight. Good luck.